Is it proper to make promises to God and offer bribes to Him? What if we fail to keep our promise? Srimati Bindya Chaudhary asked.
Shat Shat Pranam to dear Swamiji. Sometimes when we humans are in trouble or have a disease or extreme stress, we tend to offer God bribe. For example, we say, "Hey God, please cure me and I will not eat non-veg for 40 days." Or, "Hey God, if you help me through this problem, I will give a donation of 1000 rupees in your temple." Or, "Hey God, please help me find my jewelry and I will distribute food to 11 poor people," and so on. My question is that does this bribe hold any value and is it okay to do so? Also, what if the particular problem gets solved and we do not perform what we promised? Will God get angry and punish us? If we are unable to fulfill any promise to God and ask for forgiveness, will He still be upset with us? The human mind experiences what is known as a fear and doubt in the mind that if I don't fulfill what I promised, God will get angry and punish me either by ruining my health or work or anything else. Is there any basis to this fear? Hey Almighty Lord Dattatreya himself, the Almighty Swamiji, please enlighten my ignorant human mind. Thank you.
Swami replied. The Gita says that all beginnings are full of defects, just as a newly lit fire gives off a lot of smoke. Sarvarambha hi doshena. God excuses those defects, giving due consideration to the person who is in the initial stage of the spiritual journey. God even goes along with such defective ways for some time until the person rises above that state. The person who wishes to control a strong bull running at full speed has to first run along with it for some time. The person rescuing people fallen in a mud pond invariably gets some mud splashed on his body too. Hence God accepts the bribe from you. But when you break your promise of doing something if God fulfills your desire, God does get angry. Breaking your promise to God is a big sin. Bribing God is a bigger sin. But let's say that God accepts your bribery considering it to be an inevitable initial defect. To add to it, if you also break your word, it becomes the biggest sin. So bribery, which is a bigger sin, plus breaking one's word, which is a big sin, together becomes complete degradation, which is the biggest sin. Keeping one's word is a good quality. So if you at least keep your word, that good quality reduces the bigger sin of bribery to just a big sin. What causes God to get angry is after having committed a bigger sin, you're committing yet another big sin. It means instead of progressing, you are further degrading. If you at least keep your word, that good quality reduces the intensity of your sin to some extent. It at least indicates that you are making some progress, even though it is only a little progress. Bribery, which is a bigger sin, plus keeping one's word, which is a good quality, shows that there is little progress, making it only a big sin. So compared to bribing God and breaking one's word, bribing God and keeping one's word is better. Even rowdies and gundas can follow the bare minimum ethics of keeping their word while doing the sins that they do. Then why can normal human beings not follow the same? There are two types of devotion. The first is prostitution devotion or Veshya Bhakti, in which the devotee asks for practical boons from God in exchange for his theoretical devotion. The devotee will say that he will recite the Hanuman Chalisa 108 times if God grants him some profit in his business. The recitation of prayers is a mental or theoretical activity, whereas gaining profit in business is a practical gain. A prostitute also similarly snatches away the money from the customer by speaking sweet words and singing sweet songs in praise of him. She has no love for the customer. She only pretends to love him by the sweet words and songs. This is the worst type of devotion. Such a devotee is only cheating God through intelligent tricks. The second type of devotion is business devotion or Vaishya Bhakti, in which the devotee does some material sacrifice, but it is only for getting a higher material benefit. Even a businessman gives you items in exchange for an equal quantity of money. But the devotee says that if God grants him a profit of 1 lakh rupees, he will offer 10% of it to God. So in this business devotion too, there's a lot of cheating. But it's a lot better than prostitution devotion, which would be like praising a shopkeeper through a song or a poem and asking him to give an item from his shop in exchange for the praise. Entering into business devotion and breaking one's word in it is worse than prostitution devotion. At least no word is broken in prostitution devotion. Actually, we will succeed in these lower types of devotion if we keep our goal as issue devotion. Issue devotion is the highest type of devotion. It is the kind of love or devotion that we have for our issues or children. We practically serve our children and sacrifice our wealth for them without aspiring for anything in return from them. Service is work. Wealth and property is the fruit of our work, which we invariably pass on to them. We sacrifice both work and the fruit of our work to our children without expecting anything in return. We must do the same for God. Even if one is a sinner, one should at least retain some sincerity while doing the sin. Such a sinner is better than the sinner who not only commits a sin, but is also insincere and cheats while doing the sin. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that propagating divine spiritual knowledge pleases the Lord greatly. Jnana yajnena tenaham. Spiritual knowledge brings about permanent harmony and peace in the world. So join us in sharing this universal divine knowledge of Lord Datta and earn the highest grace of God.